Hey folks, this is Kalani. Welcome back to the Castle Nathria array guide for normal and heroic. In this video we'll be taking down the Stone Legion generals. This fight has 3 phases with a small intermission between them. In the first phase you'll be fighting Karl while Grishal flies above. Karl will mark random targets with Wicked Blade. You can see the red arrow on top of your head. This will deal AoE damage around you and applies a bleed to anyone who gets hit, so take these out of the group. She will also cast Heartrend. This applies a dispellable debuff to several raid members. The debuff itself deals damage over 36 seconds, so it's a long one, but if you dispel it, it deals significantly faster damage over 6 seconds, so make sure your healers are ready for that. Karl will also use Serrated Swipe on the tank with aggro, dealing heavy damage and applying stacks of Serrated Tear. You want to tank swap every 2 stacks of this debuff, and be sure to clear this debuff as often as you can with the next ability. While flying above, Grishal will use Stonebreaker's combo. He casts Crystallize at a random player. That player has a yellow circle around them. When the cast finishes, anyone in that circle will turn to stone and be stunned briefly. Anyone turned to stone will have all bleed effects removed, so that's pretty handy. Grishal then drops a huge meteor on the same player's location, dealing a massive amount of damage. This damage needs to be split with as many players as possible. The most ideal way to handle this ability is for any player with a bleed effect, like the one Wicked Blade leaves or the tank debuff bleed, to get turned to stone with a crystallized cast to remove those bleeds, and then every player available hops in after the stun to soak the meteor. We actually found just stacking up for both parts of the combo to work well, so do whatever works best for your raid group. Grishal will also throw stone spikes at random players while he's flying around. This is just random raid damage, so heal it up. When Karl gets to 50% health, she'll enter a hardened stone form. This is the intermission. The boss takes 95% less damage, and to break this form you have to gather up anima orbs and give them to Prince Renathal at the back of the room. During the intermission, gargoyle ads in the air will periodically die, dropping to the floor and leaving behind an anima orb. Pick these up and take them to Renathal to replenish his mana. Another ad spawns that needs to be tanked, the Stone Legion Goliath. Besides dealing a lot of damage to your tanks, these ads will also use Ravenous Feast. They jump to a random player, dealing damage and stunning them, and then dealing even more damage over 4 seconds. Make sure the targets are healed up quickly. You can use immunities to break this effect early if they are available. They also periodically gain stacks of Ravenous Hunger, increasing their damage done dramatically. You have to kill the ads before this buff gets out of control. When the ad gets to 20% health, they will start stacking a healing reduction debuff on the entire raid, so you have to finish them off quickly, otherwise your healers just won't be able to heal. When they die, these ads leave behind a larger anima orb worth 30% mana to Renathal, so take that over to the Prince ASAP. When the Prince gets to 100% mana, he'll use Shattering Blast, dealing raid-wide damage, knocking everyone back and breaking the boss's stone form. Don't stand near the edge of the room while this happens so you don't get knocked off. Make sure everyone is healed up and get ready for phase 2. Karl retreats to the air and Grishal drops down to fight. During this phase, Karl will still throw out Wicked Blade, so handle them in the same way. She will also throw out Shurikens at random players for extra raid damage. Just keep everyone healed up. Grishal will continue to use his Stonebreaker's combo, so keep stacking to remove bleeds and split the meteor damage. He'll also use Stone Fist on the current tank. This knocks you back, deals heavy damage, and applies a debuff, increasing the damage of Stone Fist by 100%. Don't get knocked off the platform and tank swap every stack. Reverberating Eruptions will mark a random player with a yellow arrow that deals a large amount of AoE damage to the target and leaves behind an unstable ground zone. You want to drop this out of the group and try to put them next to other unstable ground zones, but don't stack them up. Every time this ability is cast, any existing unstable ground zones will trigger Echoing Annihilation, causing them to explode for raid-wide damage unless someone stands in them to soak them. If you get hit by Reverberating Eruption or you soak an Echoing Annihilation, you get a debuff increasing the damage you take from those abilities by 500% for 45 seconds, so you cannot soak them twice in a row. Every single raid member needs to be on their toes for this because you're going to have to rotate who soaks, and you have to soak every single unstable zone, and the longer the fight goes on, the more zones you're going to have. You can use immunities to help soak these if you're struggling. The last ability Grishal has is Seismic Upheaval. Swirls will appear under random players' feet. After a short delay, a rock bursts up and deals a lot of damage. Just keep moving. When you get Grishal down to 50% health, you start another intermission, handle it in exactly the same way, kill the big ad, collect all the anima orbs and give them to Renathal, who will break the stone form and you enter phase 3. During this phase, both bosses will be active and you'll have to handle all of their abilities at the same time. The fight doesn't really change too much, you just have to keep an eye on more things. Take the eruptions out of the group, soak the echoing annihilation, take the wicked blades out, keep clearing your bleeds with the crystallize, keep stacking together for the meteor damage, keep moving for seismic upheaval, and keep the tank swaps going. It is a lot to keep track of, but practice makes perfect. You also have to kill the bosses at about the same time. When one dies, the other deals 200% more damage, so keep their health equal and finish them off together. And that's all you should need to take down the Stone Legion generals on normal and heroic. Stay tuned for more boss guides covering the rest of the raid. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to everyone who has subscribed on Twitch. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to catch us live, pop on over to twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We do a bunch of stuff as well as stream our progression raids. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I'll see you next time.